In this episode, I speak to Lainya, who initially was going to become a mental health nurse. Now, in 2026, has found herself working in the film industry, having written and directed her first film. This podcast talks about the mental health struggles that a human being can have, but still come from being in a situation where you're working in a job that you're not enjoying, and then getting into a career which could only be made by the gods. Lainya talks openly about her mental health, but also how with hard work and dedication, good people around you, and maybe just a little bit of magic, amazing things can happen to any one of us. Hope you enjoy the episode, and peace and love, yeah?
I've been eating your donuts for years, Rose, but this is the best you've ever made.
So what the secret ingredient is? It's the same old Rosie Jenkins recipe. I promise. Go on, tell all the gory detail.
Hiya.
Hiya.
Can do my little intro.
Okay, it's just occurred to me that I'm very, very, very normally on the other side of all of this, and now I'm suddenly feeling overwhelmed. It's fine.
It's fine.
It's fine.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of This Is Me Doing My Thing. Heywood and Stuff, the podcast which I record sporadically when my mental health feels like it wants to, when there's time and space to do it. And today we've got Lainya in the studio. Hi, Lainya.
Hello. I missed you.
It's been a while.
It's been a long time.
We've met probably only a handful of times, but I already feel like very early on we became quite close because we were working together. Mm-hmm. And I think we've had similar experiences, although different. Been going through stuff.
I love the stuff.
Lots of stuff.
So much stuff.
And one thing that kind of I realized quite quickly from the first couple of times that we met was that you were working for others, but there was clearly a desire and a longing to kind of go self-employed and take that leap. 2 years later?
Yeah.
Have we known each other that long?
I think so.
Now you find yourself, you've taken that leap of faith.
I have.
And lots of things have happened since.
They have.
Which we'll get to.
Yes.
But let's go back to when it happened. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to say like companies and shit unless we want to shame the fuckers.
Yeah, I was going to say they get no free clout from me.
So what happened? How did you make the transition? Because I know a lot of people want to take that leap of faith, but it does seem daunting, and it is scary. Mm-hmm. How did you make that switch?
So I think around at the time that we had started to work together, I was starting to dabble in the field that I really wanted to be in, self-employed, which is the film and TV industry.
Yes.
And I work with an incredible group of people, group of creatives here in the North. And two of my friends ran their own production company at the time and still do.
What's it called?
It's called Blue Sea Pictures. And I'm now part of the company because I've put the work and the grind in to get there. So it was very much a lot of being employed full-time whilst also essentially working a full-time job outside of that to prove myself and to gain the skills that I needed to learn to be in the industry. And so I would say I've kind of spent those last 2 years doing that.
So what is it that you do for Blue Sea Pictures? What was it that you did initially?
So I did film and media studies at university, which, if we're going way, way back, is like, I think it's like 10 years ago. Or maybe more. But before doing that, I actually studied to be a mental health nurse at uni for a year before that, because, you know, similarly to you in that way, I've dealt with those struggles before and would like to put as much of my time here on this planet Earth that I have to be able to give back and help people as well. And so for probably 5 to 10 years of my life, that was my path.
The mental health route.
Yeah. So all through school, through college, getting to university, studying film had never really crossed my mind, or working in it certainly had never crossed my mind. I wasn't super creative as a kid in terms that like drawing and artwork and anything like that I was not good at. And so to me, I thought that I wasn't creative, and I was super academic in school, and because of that I was pushed to the academic routes. So I don't think that I had an opportunity to explore that creativity. I used to love reading and writing books when I was younger, which kind of now makes a lot of sense in where I'm at. But for that whole chunk and period of my life, that was just never, it wasn't thought about. And I guess like that age, like especially being in the Northeast, when you're younger, you don't hear of anyone who works in the TV industry.
Yeah.
Because it certainly back then wasn't.
It's all Landan.
Yeah,
It's all in Landan.
that's it. It was only people down there.
So what was the catalyst for you? What was that spark where you're like, oh?
So I had a friend when I was at college who was a year above me, and she'd taken media studies. And by this point, I was very much into watching movies and watching TV shows. I think The Walking Dead was like my favourite thing in the whole world at that point. I was just so immersed in like these fantasy worlds and watching TV shows like that. And when you're at college, you need to take 4 A-levels to begin with. And I knew of 3 that I wanted to do, one of which was actually photography. So I kind of had developed a bit of a love of that. But it wasn't, again, something that I was pushed into because academia was more important. So my friend said, I really had fun on this course. And if you're looking for something to fill, I would recommend that you do it, because I think like at the very least you would enjoy it if you don't take anything else from it. And the first ever exam that I did, I got 100 marks in, like full marks. And I was like,
that's a sign in itself.
Okay, so I enjoy this and I'm also pretty good at it. So that was kind of the first inkling, the first spark. And I had a really great lecturer in my media course that kind of just kept inspiring me to want to know more about it and be more involved and really push myself in that area. But by that point, my mind was already decided that I was going to be a mental health nurse and help people. So applied for uni, went to uni, did a year on the course and failed an exam for the first time in my life, which sounds a bit ridiculous to say, but of someone who's always been kind of like an A plus
Would that
student.
be troubling to you when you would get lower than expected grades? Did you need that to kind of feel safe, those higher grades? Some people have that, don't
I think
they?
it was more of a panic of, first of all, this hasn't happened before. And because it was a subject that I knew I wasn't strong in, I really had been studying hard. Like, it's not that I just turned up there and winged it on the day. I knew I was struggling from the first week. And so I really put the time in to try and make sure whatever it took, I would get there. And so it was very evident that that just wasn't going to be the case. So it was more of a panic of, I've spent the last 5 years of my life building towards this. I thought this was going to be my future forever.
Yeah. It put doubt.
Whoa, what now?
Yeah.
So I think that was the more difficult thing about it. I think because I also wasn't particularly enjoying the course as much as I wanted to.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just having that moment to sit down and think, okay, well, I need to do something. Am I going to keep throwing myself into this field that perhaps I'm not going to enjoy as much as I thought I was going to, where I've had a taste of something that I do really enjoy? That didn't feel like work. It didn't feel like I was at school doing things, because I just was having fun doing it.
The creative media side of things. Did it feel riskier at that point?
It felt very risky, and thankfully, like, my family and friends have always been quite good at pushing and supporting whatever it is that I want to do.
Nice.
And this was the first time that even my mom was like, are you sure? Is that really something? Because we're always going to need nurses, right? Once I get that degree, I'm guaranteed a job for the rest of my life, which typically is what society prefers. But I knew that I was going to, probably be in a field that I maybe wasn't going to enjoy. And B, like, let's not also forget about the fact that the healthcare workers are so overworked and undervalued and underpaid for their time. So was I really wanting to spend the rest of my life going into something that just was going to drain me in every way?
Yeah. I mean, you need to look at things that are going to fulfill you in your own life, really. Even if you want to be there, if you want to help other people, sometimes you need to put yourself first in order to get there.
And it did feel like a bit of a sign that I had failed this exam. And I don't mean I failed it by a few marks. Like, I failed it horribly. I was like, I think I got 30% of the marks right, which I've just come off the back of doing 100% in an exam that I'd never done before.
Yeah. Let's talk about mental health.
Oh, go on. Yeah, so obviously I wanted to do that for a reason.
Oh, so you're studying to become a mental health. So you're studying to be a mental nurse.
Yes.
A mental health nurse.
Correct.
Where does that come from? Obviously, you want to help people and it's a good, secure job, but so why mental health nurse?
I think that I've had a history of my own mental illness since I was about 5 years old.
Okay, that is a powerful line.
Earlier, yeah.
Okay.
Which I don't think I'd fully realised until quite recently. And I first went into therapy when I was in secondary school. I think I was maybe 14, when my family had discovered that I had an eating disorder and was also self-harming at the time, and had definitely had suicidal thoughts. So
At 14. So young, isn't it?
And, you know, I was bullied a lot in school growing up. I kind of was one of the outsider kids. I was a bit of a teacher's pet. You know, I was super academic and enjoyed it. And I had friends that weren't really friends. So I think from a very young age, that just had been there and impacted my life as I was growing up. So yeah, definitely by the ages of 13, 14, was pretty deep in a depression spiral. But still, that's a really difficult age to be dealing with such heavy burdens, because you've got to go to school and you've got to get grades. And
you're going through like the whole puberty phase, and you're just going through huge changes, and you're trying to discover who you are. Yeah. So I think... Which is a nightmare in itself, right? Because we all I felt really detached from myself as a teenager.
It's so hard because, especially when you're an alternative kid, and I grew up in a very small town that didn't really have anyone like that. And it wasn't until whilst I was in secondary school that I made like one other friend who had already dyed her hair red. And I was like, wow. And she had like posters all over her walls.
So what kind of alternative kid were you? Like, my mind defaults to goth.
No.
Right, but I'm guessing it's...
So typically I think I used to dye my fringe electric blue. So I had black hair with electric blue fringe. And I used to wear I had this pair of bright blue zebra print skinny jeans.
Nice.
With the Converse that were like the boots that would come right up to the knee, like with the laces all up the front. And then like a comic strip hoodie.
Okay.
Was like my god, like I can picture images of myself at school on...
I love how even though you're going through like your mental struggles at that age, it doesn't have any impact on how you decide you want to present. You know, like, this is me, this is what I'm about, and fuck what anybody thinks, sort of thing.
Yeah. I think by that point, like I say, I'd kind of met a few other people who were similar, and that helped encourage that out of me a bit more. Before meeting those people, I never would have. I kind of tried to fit the mold. And, you know, when I was really young, I used to want to be in the house and dress up just cause. So I think
it was in you, right?
It was there, whatever the flair is. And it's nice to be at a point now as as a fully fledged adult to just be
whoever the fuck you want to be.
Yeah, and feel pretty like when I was younger, obviously I had depression, anxiety, all of that stuff going on, and like crippling self-esteem issues. So even though I was wearing those clothes, like I would still try and like hide behind a fringe or kind of sit at the back and be really, really quiet. And now, even in the career that I'm in, I have to go and command a room. And it's nice to, through therapy, definitely I've found that confidence in who I am, and I don't really feel embarrassment.
Okay, so let's go to that. So you say that you're, with the work that you're in now, you have to go into a room and command a room. So what is it that you do? Why are you commanding a room? And like the necessity of having that ability to control what is going on.
So fast forwarding to this point in my life, I've been working with Blue Sea Pictures for about 2 years now. And I kind of fell into the role of assistant directing because my friend and colleague Lucy, who is one of the thirds of Blue Sea Pictures, is a very strong, confident assistant director. And one of the first sets that I worked on, she was the first assistant director on set. And even in other sets that I'd been on, there were very male-dominated spaces and still are, which is really frustrating. Which is, again, why I've kind of got this fuel to want to be in those spaces and take charge of that a bit more. But an assistant director essentially is the person who really runs the set and makes sure that everyone knows where they're at, knows what they're doing, is on time. Basically just has to be the person that gets everyone under control. And sometimes that means silence in a room of people or shouting so loud everyone can hear you. And you've just got to have the confidence to do that. Otherwise, it's very easy to fall into the shadows. And
So you have the director who's predominantly working with the actors,
Correct.
I guess, and then the first AD who's kind of managing behind the scenes what everybody's doing, when, where, and so you've got to know what everybody's doing at all times. Does that feel kind of like? Is there something therapeutic about that? Like when you're in that zone that you've got to be so present. Do you know what I mean?
I think so. It's a very nice space as someone with ADHD to be able to focus on one thing, but also a million things at once, because you've kind of got to hone in on all of those different avenues and different departments that people are working in. Yeah, it's good.
How do you feel like when you're on set now? Like, say it's the first day of filming, and I mean, I'm a little bit naive to like how many people would be on a set. But how do you feel like at the beginning of the day when you know that you're going to have to hold authority in a way, but without being a dick, I assume? There's a balance, is there not?
No,
right?
there definitely is. And it's funny, I've worked on multiple different sets now. So typically when you're on set, you'll work with different people, different casts, different crews. When you're in different locations, different productions, hire different people. And yes, there are some people who you work with quite regularly, but sometimes you're stepping into a space where you've never met anyone there before.
As a first AD? Oh, shit. That really ups the ante a little bit.
Yeah, it does. But it's great because everyone's there for the same reason, the same task. And I think a lot of people tend to rely on the assistant director's department quite a lot. So, you know, you don't want to piss them off and they don't want to piss you off. But from early in my career, there's been multiple different people and departments that have come up to me midway or after set and just said, you've got such a calm and energy that no matter what's going on, like everything's going to be fine because we've got that trust in you. Yes, and that's really nice. And I don't think that that's something that, like, I'm aware and comfortable enough to say that, like, that's something that I have in me. That's not something you learn. You don't teach that to someone.
No, I think it's definitely something that you have as part of you. I'm going to share something, right? A couple of years ago when we first met, and you were going through it with your mental health, like you were struggling, and it was, I know, like it was as bad as it can get, really. But every time I met you, you seemed so calm, like to the point where I was like, she's catatonic. Like, like she's gone too far. But it's interesting how some people present very manic and erratic and all over the place, and then some people just have a calming like presentation. So it kind of lends itself perfectly to what you're doing now.
It does, yeah.
How do you make the jump, or how do you make the transition between being first AD, where you're kind of managing the back, everything that we've just spoke about, to actually writing and directing your own film? Because that's a different thing, right?
Yes, entirely.
Same set, different thing.
Entirely different. And
talk to me about Jammy after.
I will. I think you'll meet most assistant directors get into the role because they want to direct. And I think initially, way back when, that was my same thoughts. And then with assistant directing, I've also picked up producing. And you kind of hit the nail on the head that those are very structural, logistical, problem-solving roles to be in. Being a writer and a director is not fully, but pretty much creative. But a different kind of pressure that weighs on your shoulders, because as an assistant director, there's a plan in place that you might have assisted creating how that plan's going to work, and you just have to execute that plan and do all of the roles and responsibilities that come with that to make sure that it happens as smoothly as possible. Whereas when you're a writer and a director, everyone's there for your project, for you to make the right calls and make the correct decisions that are going to hopefully result in a good end product.
How do you when did you know that you wanted to write and direct a film?
Ben and Lucy, who are my partners in Blue Sea, they are very much writers and directors to their core. They are writing, have written, will keep writing things that should definitely be made at some point because they're fantastic. And I'd started to dabble in directing music videos, which I grew up watching music videos. Like, I would get home from school and put the music video channel on. It was probably Kerrang or Scuzz. And I loved them. And I think it's really nice how you can tell such a story, like extend the song, the narrative of the song through visuals as well. And so I'd watch them direct a couple and seen like the impact that it could have. And I started to direct a few of my own. But it's very different because you've got the songwriter there who very much already has a feeling or a theme or a reason that they'd written the song.
So you're like an extension of sort of thing. You're
kind of just bringing their idea into fruition and making it happen. So then writing and directing your own thing is completely different on that. But I think Ben and Lucy just have really encouraged me into it because they've seen that I do have that ability, and it definitely was just a lack of confidence, which I still went into Jammy with a lack of confidence. They've been there as to give advice whenever I've needed it, but will very much explicitly say, but this is your project and we're only going to hold your hand so much of the way because you need
so
to.
Good, isn't it?
Perfect. Exactly what I needed. The reassurance and the questions where it was needed, and a lot of it just done on my own. Okay,
so tell me about Jammy.
This is going to sound so cliche.
Love a cliche.
Jammy came to me in a dream.
Of course it did.
I am one of those people who has very avid dreams. Like, I'll wake up in the morning and feel like I've just been at the cinema all night inside my brain. Okay. Really rad. Love that for me. to the
wake up
point
more
where-
tired than you fell asleep.
Yeah, to the point where I have started writing notes in my phone, like when I wake up sometimes, and I've just watched something in my brain that I was like, that was pretty neat.
Nice.
People would probably like to watch that too.
Nice.
But instead it's just inside my brain. And sometimes I wake up and it's just gone, or sometimes I'll have written absolute nonsense and have to try and decipher it and rewrite it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes that's happened before, but Jammy was definitely a dream and heavily inspired by Dexter, which I have a fun little nitbit to tell you once we get to the end. But yeah, heavily inspired by that show. It was one of my favourites back when I was in college, falling into the love of TV. And I just had this dream about, it kind of was just like a one piece of the puzzle that I dreamt about. And I thought, I could probably flesh that out into being something. And so spoke to Ben and Lucy, and they gave me some tips on how to write what we would call a beat sheet, which is all of the different beats that happens throughout a story. So then all of a sudden you've got one bit of the puzzle and then you kind of like figure out the rest and it all comes together. And that's how that started. And I wrote the script when I was out on holiday in San Diego, which is nice because I was obviously feeling good because I was just out in the sun, and that's always a good place to feel inspired. And I think I wrote the script in about 2 hours, the first draft. It just flew out of me once I started writing it.
Nice.
Yeah, really cool.
Can you delve a little bit more into the premise of it without giving too much away?
Yes, without giving too much away. Jammy is based around this baker. She works in a donut shop. Obviously, she owns a donut shop because I also love donuts so much. And I remember seeing this picture of one from Big Fat Donut Company, RIP, we will miss you. And it just looked like the way that the jam was in it just looked like it could have been like blood pooling out of it. And I was like, that's kind of fun. And so obviously written into the storyline is my feelings of a patriarchal society that we live in. And throughout my life, a lot of the issues I've dealt with, surprise, have been down to men. Not all men, but a lot of men, yeah. Sorry.
On behalf of...
So she is a baker who is struggling, and her business is kind of about to go under because she's really tried and put all of her blood, sweat and tears into making this business work.
Yeah.
And she's on the cusp of being like, I can't do it. And she's walking home from work one night and she bumps into this couple who are having an argument, and she pulls the girl away. And then she gets attacked one day by said man in her own shop, and they have this violent confrontation and something happens.
Yeah.
And then her shop ends up doing really well.
Nice.
Yeah.
How much of your lived experience and, journeying through mental health in the past and to date do you think goes into these ideas, dreams, scripts, and then the actual creative process when you're directing? Like how connected do you think it becomes?
Very. I think it's difficult to really write about something or develop something that you don't have a personal connection to. Maybe that's just me.
No, I think it's right. I mean, that I've struggled with mental health like forever as well, and I'm always trying to look at like the positives that come out of having such a shit show for a brain. I'm talking about myself. It's like one of the gifts of having these issues is that when I speak to other people that are going through the same thing or maybe 10 years behind where I am, and I can give them some insight on where I am or where I've been, that can help. And I think the same thing goes for the creative space. When you create pieces of work that people can connect with and it tells a story, it's like creating beauty out of like the macabre of our brains.
Totally agree.
You know what I mean? What moving forward, like with future scripts, Do you like this direction of film? Like this genre?
It's funny. So when I dropped out of being a mental health nurse and I moved into film production, I'd kind of said, this can still be an avenue where I can help people through a different medium. And I ended up getting an opportunity in my final year of university. Like, the local NHS were looking for people to make a documentary on ECT treatment. And I put myself forward and got onto it.
Right.
And it kind of was that synergy of leaving one thing, and I'd made myself that promise 3 years prior that I would move into that still and use that new skill set to work in helping people still, and that opportunity just flung itself right at me before I'd even graduated. So yeah, there definitely is, I resonate with and I enjoy being on projects that are for things like charities or tell a story that opens up those conversations more. We're producing a short film at the moment that we're going to shoot next month that raises important conversations on suicide, but the conversations of suicide from the people who have been left behind, which I think doesn't really get spoken about that much.
No.
It's often about the person who is dealing with the struggle, and we don't really see the other side of that. And that's something that resonates a lot with me because, as you know, I've been in places of attempting to take my own life.
Yeah.
And the hardest part of that is thinking about family and friends.
The guilt part of it. Yeah. What a fucker, right? Like, you feel guilty even though you didn't do it.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Just let me do it.
Yeah.
God, they did
No.
it.
Yeah, it's difficult to look back and then give yourself grace that, you know, you weren't, you know, you didn't do it because...
Like, that wasn't for me.
Yeah.
I was still acting for everyone else.
Yeah. There's two things I want to talk about before we get to the Dexter thing. There's the premiere bit.
Yes.
Because this is fucking cool.
Yes.
And then, like, you got some accolades afterwards, right?
Kinda.
Right, okay.
It's maybe on its way.
Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, tell me about that. I want to hear about the premiere because I wasn't there. I know I
Yes.
should have been, but my brain was fucked.
Hey, all good.
I know. I didn't feel too bad because I was like, if anyone understands,
Yeah.
she's probably not judging me.
I was on my way, but I threw myself in front of a car.
I didn't like myself very much.
Love you, hate me. Been there too many times. Okay, so Jammy, all in all, took about a year. It was 11 months from developing the idea and writing the script to its premiere. It premiered at Tyneside Cinema, which is
Very cool.
so fucking cool. And that's an opportunity that really is rare for filmmakers. They've just set up a new initiative where they want to showcase northern films from emerging northern creators. Because when you're looking into putting on a screening for a film that you've made, you've got to pay money to rent the space, screen the thing. Then you don't want to charge people to come and watch the film that they've worked on. Or that they might bloody not care about. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's not my mum's favourite thing that she's ever seen.
Yeah.
So really cool to have the opportunity to screen it there, and really special because the cast and crew hadn't actually seen it before that either. And especially for the cast, who did such an incredible job of bringing these characters above and beyond what was in my brain to being way, way more. To also have their work showcased on that screen in a sold out theatre full of people is just really, really rad. So that was such a, you know, I'm so grateful for that opportunity. Great for the Tyneside to be doing that. And then it'll screen again at Sunderland Shorts Film Festival next month. And we've got 6 nominations there.
Yeah.
Which is really cool. So fingers crossed.
What are some of the obviously they're all exciting, but what are the nominations that you would really like to win? What are they, like, just titled?
Yeah, so I think Best Thriller, Best Debut, Best short, and then there's like a Northeast recognition, which would be nice.
Going back to the premiere night, you know, like when it ends and then like everyone's excited. Like, what was that feeling like?
I was so nervous to screen it there, because I think it's one thing screening it just for the people who put their time and their craft into it, and like I said, that comes back to that whole, you've got to really deliver a good product at the end of that. But not only that, there was a whole bunch of strangers and other filmmakers in there too.
Other fucking filmmakers. Yeah. That adds a dynamic, doesn't it?
And I'm just here like, hey, this is my first film that was inspired by this serial killer show and that I had a dream about one night. And I just really loved donuts, so I made a thing about it.
Yeah.
But like, also, why the fuck not? You know what I
man.
mean? If I love donuts, I'm gonna make a movie about it.
You know, when people are like telling you how great they think it is and that's amazing, do you hear it and feel it? Do you believe it?
I do now. After having it in that space.
Yeah.
Because like, people were laughing at all the right spots.
Right.
And people were like,
were you like super attuned to like were people getting it sort of thing?
Like, I was like crying a little bit. Like, I was like hearing people laugh at jokes that I'd written, and I was like, oh my God.
Love that.
I've done it. Like, it actually worked. And so that I think it was actually, as nerve-wracking as it was, better for me to have it in that space, because it's so easy for your friends who support you in whatever you do, because they have to tell you it's good. Or for the people who worked on it, who know the story, to be like, oh yeah, that worked. But for people who are going into it entirely blind, they don't know who I am, they don't know anything about the story, to be like really enjoying it and at the end say that it was cool is...
How are Lucy and Ben? They must have been like...
super stoked.
Yeah. It's such a great thing to have anyway, to have two friends that you trust, but also in the working environment where they've got your back and they know that level of like push and help and push and help.
Yeah, I mean, they've taught me everything I know in the industry. Like, I would not have a successful career now without their guidance.
Absolutely. And I think they must be feeling mutually grateful for you, right? Because otherwise, why would they take you under their wing? Like, they're getting something from the thing as well.
100%.
Dexter, there was a thing. There's a thing.
There's a thing.
Tell me about the thing.
So a couple of years ago, pre-COVID, I think, before even getting into it, I'd messaged the director of Dexter on Instagram.
The Dexter, the
like
show.
the show Dexter, the one that inspired everything. Because he actually
What do you roll your eyes at that?
No, it's just really, it's like, I just sent him a DM. I was just like, I'm just gonna shoot my shot.
Yeah, 100%.
And he also directed a bunch of Papa Roach's music videos back in the day. So like, those were the things I used to be watching in my bedroom, right? So this is an influence that's been long in my life without me having realizing it. And he wrote back at the time and like gave me some solid advice on kind of getting into the industry and just to keep going. And I just like, I think not even 2 weeks ago, I was like, I could message him again and be like, hey, I did the thing.
Yeah.
So I messaged him and sent him like a screening link for Jammy, and I said, hey, you know, I really appreciated your advice that you gave me all those years ago. Stoked to say that I'm now working pretty much full time in the industry, and I've finally written and directed my own thing that was heavily influenced by Dexter. Here it is. Appreciate you busy, you know.
Yeah, but...
No press. But it would be really cool if you've got 10 minutes, because that's all it is, like, please. And, like, not even an hour later, I had a message back from him, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? And he opens it with, like, Lainya, I'm on my lunch break from directing the new season of Dexter right now.
No way.
Just watched your short film, and, like, said it was really cool, and how stoked he was that I'd followed his advice, because he said so many people reach out to him and just kind of brush it off.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's really refreshing. He said that says a lot about you as a person, that you've kind of hustled and only now you've made your first thing, but you've done it. Like, you're just out there doing it.
How cool of him to actually, you know.
What a nice thing to do. Like, that man, like, you're on set on Dexter.
Yeah.
And you're watching my short film on your lunch break.
Yeah.
That's
like, I mean,
so
it's
cool.
a testament, right? He's like a normal, nice bloke.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It like brings it all down to earth. It's like, I imagine you in like however many years when you're on some big set and someone messages you going, "Oh, I watched Jammy," or whatever.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
I know you would give the time, of course you would.
Yeah. Well, I was stoked about that.
How do you find the strength or the space when you're battling mental health stuff like you were 2 years ago to then reach a point where you do actually make that leap of faith simultaneously, right?
Yeah. So at that point 2 years ago, whilst we were getting to know each other and I was dealing with arguably the worst mental health time that I'd ever had in my life. And I thought that I'd had that before. And this came in after therapy, after multiple rounds of therapy. And then realised how awful that it could get. And that was tough. But that was around the time that I'd started to work with Ben and Lucy and learn more about the industry. And at the time, we were shooting a feature film that I think we did across 3 weeks. And I was an assistant director on it. And I had a lot more responsibility than I normally had on set. And there were multiple times when they checked in with me and said, if this is too much and you need time and you need to not be working right now, that's fine. Protect yourself. And every time I said, please give me more things to do.
Yeah.
Keep the list coming, because it's the only thing that's getting me out of bed. It's the only thing that's making me concentrate on a task. I feel like I'm being helpful, whether or not I make it to the end of these 3 weeks, because that was touch and go at that point still.
Yeah.
But having those people rely on me in that situation, and also really important to note that these were people who were friends, who I cared about. Had it just been any set of some strangers, maybe I wouldn't have felt the same way. But I felt the responsibility to... I didn't want to leave them in the lurch by being like, bye.
Yeah.
So that was really...
And you're talking about like, ending your life here.
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. But that was the best thing, was to have that focus and feel accomplished in doing that. And having to turn up on set every day and be that commanding person in the room and put that mask on.
It emphasizes the importance of community, right? Like in a world where we're all kind of more isolated than ever, and it feels more isolating than ever. But there are actually people out there that get you, like anybody. It's finding your people, which I think a lot of people struggle to find. But once you've got them, it's it just shows like it's so important.
And you find people along the way that you think are your people, and you think that they've got you back.
Yeah, I mean, we could do a whole hour on that.
Turns out they fucking don't.
Yeah, and that's so damaging. That's so damaging because that's it's a whole like traumatizing thing on its own. It also the problem with that is that it then makes you question. This is me. Meeting those people that you think are one way, but then it turns out they're another. And not only do they disappoint you, but they've actually kind of, it feels like a betrayal. You then question every new person you meet. And there's a couple of years, like going back, where I had that, where it was like betrayed by one person, betrayed by another. And I'm like, fuck, am I losing my mind? Like everybody's like this. And I don't know, like, I don't know how I stopped that cycle, but maybe on some level I was attracting them until I figured out how to navigate that. I don't know. But my point is, it can completely like skewer your reality,
100%. I think I digressed. Your question was advice for people who are trying to get in, and I did not tell you that at all.
Tell me.
I think that the most important thing is to get involved with the creative community that's around. Networking's a big thing, even if you've got no experience. Get on set as much as you can. Start out as a runner. Figure out where you want to be. If you already know where you want to be, try and go on to shadow. That's how I got into it. So I started out as a runner, and Lucy was an AD, and I just said, please can I shadow you? I worked for free for years. So, don't expect to just get paid work fall into your lap straight away, especially here. But I think it's about being committed to it and just wanting time and experience can be way more valuable than money is. And that's what I learned. So I was doing that on top of a full-time job because I knew how important it was to be on set, meet those people, get that experience, for it to now be leading me in some very exciting directions.
I know, and it is, and I'm excited to see where it goes for you as well. Thank you for coming on and chatting to me about, not just your career path, but also like the mental health stuff, because, I love a good chat about mental health. And I hope you hang around to do lots more amazing stuff.
I think so. I think that's my plan now.
Yeah.
Yeah. Feeling
nice
good.
One. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.